Hello and welcome to one of the most nasty games I've ever played on any computer system. Dig Dug with the Commodore 64. I mean, you have a Witcher which chops people into ribbons. You have other heroes in other games that blow up enemies with grenades and all sorts of things, but this hero, he injects a pump into the sides of his enemies and then he pumps them up until they blow up. If that's not the most nasty game ever seen on any system, I don't know what is. Okay, joking aside, Dig Dug is an arcade classic from Namco, and I can't remember which of my videos where I stated that I thought it could have been the first. It was Burning Rubber. I thought could have been one of the first, if not the first arcade conversion, but I actually think Dig Dug was older. I mean, the game is from 1982, whereas Burning Rubber is slightly newer than that, not by much. But of course, that is no indication of when the game was actually converted, but around that time sounds about fair. But it many years ago, when I was still a teenager. The low spectre of being a teenager. But regardless, it's a very simple game, and I know I made a bit of a joke about it being a bit morbid, but technically it is actually rather morbid to pump it up until your enemies blow up. But by and large, it is definitely a sign of some of the earlier arcade games where the simple gameplay, possibly extremely repetitive, but still very enjoyable. And of course, like many other games of the time, it was a score chaser. There's quite a few different stages in this game, but the enemy composition and the position of the stones you can drop down on enemies are the main differences, and of course the number of enemies. You probably noticed that you have two types of enemies. You have their names are displayed on the title screen. The non-dragons, they just chase after you, and then you have the dragons which got the bad breath, and you can possibly imagine that's not very healthy to be hit by. As you go around and clear the levels, when you have one enemy remaining, it will try to run off to the top left of the screen, and if it manages to get away, you'll have an extra enemy on the following round. So getting rid of them can be beneficial, especially later on when you start getting an excessive amount of enemies to deal with. It's not particularly advanced, but truth be told, I have played this game many a time and I still found it enjoyable to play it a bit for the purpose of making this video. It is simple, I wouldn't say harmless fun, because I'm not sure. I will not make a big deal out of it, because I mean obviously it's just a gameplay mechanic and it is a somewhat silly game. But getting back to playing it again and hearing it again and seeing it again was actually quite enjoyable, I have to admit. Not exactly the most advanced graphics, and the music is rather repetitive and gets rather old very quickly, but then you get to hear the exciting sounds of blowing up enemies, which is a bit nasty. There's a sprite bug there. It's not there. I didn't want to risk walking into it because I didn't know whether it would have a hit detection, but it's just one of those relics from the older games. I'd say I shouldn't say that, because just because a game is old doesn't mean it's necessarily worse programmed than many other games. Regardless, there's not an awful lot to say about this game, but I still wanted to put it up on my channel because it's a classic. It's a funny, enjoyable little game, and yeah, not an awful lot more to say about it. So I'm not going to. So on that note, I'm going to say thanks for watching, take care, and see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.